Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the case of Tara Faye Grinstead. Tara was born November 14th, 1974 to Faye Bennett Grinstead in Hawkinsville, Georgia. And Tara was said to just have this magnetic personality. And not only did she have a great personality, but she was a beautiful young girl and young woman. And that's shown through in the many beauty pageants she competed in and the many titles that she won. Now, Tara wasn't only passionate about beauty pageants, she also really wanted to become a teacher. So she decided that she was going to use her winnings from her pageants in order to help fund her college education in achieving her dream. So she went on and got her bachelor's degree from Georgia Middle College, and then she went to Valdosta State University and obtained her master's degree in 2003. Tara then went on to teach 11th grade history at Irwin County High School in Ocala, Georgia. And even while teaching, she still maintained her love for beauty pageants. So in her spare time, she would actually help coach beauty pageant contestants. At the time, Tara was only 30 years old, and she was teaching and she was coaching, and she was just really enjoying life, despite the fact that her and her boyfriend of 6 years had recently just decided to end things. On Saturday, October 22nd, 2005, Tara attended a beauty pageant that she had had some involvement in, and after the beauty pageant, she decided to go to a friend's barbecue. When she left the barbecue that evening, that would be the last time that any of her family or friends seen or heard from her again. Now, the next day was Sunday, October 23rd, and Tara missed church. Now, while this was unlike her to miss church, it didn't automatically send off like the alarm bells. It wasn't that huge of a deal, and so no one was really alarmed. But come the following Monday, when Tara did not show up for work nor call in sick, her coworkers were very worried because that was completely out of character for her. Tara's coworkers were so concerned that they decided to call the police and have the police do a well check. And when the police arrived at Tara's residence, they automatically saw a few things that were just suspicious. First of all, Tara's car was there, but no matter how much they knocked on the door, she did not answer. And while they were knocking on the door, they noticed that there was a business card wedged in between the door and the door jamb. And we will come back to that business card later in the video. When police investigated her car, they realized that the seat was pushed back way too far for someone of her height to be able to reach the pedals. Another thing that was very suspicious but had the probability of maybe being nothing or maybe being a huge clue was the fact that they found one single latex glove in the yard of her residence. Once police were able to gain access to Tara's residence, they automatically noticed a few more things that were a little suspicious. First of all, being that her cat and her dog were left there all alone, obviously unattended for a while. Second of all, her cell phone was left there. And as they made their way through her home, they came upon her bedroom and they noticed beads all over her bedroom floor, like if a necklace or a bracelet had been broke. They also noticed that her alarm clock had been knocked off the table and was broken on the floor, and one of her bedposts seemed damaged and just not right, as well as one of her bedroom lampshades being crooked. And while her cell phone was left there, her keys and her purse were nowhere to be found. So right now they basically have her car there, her animals there, her cell phone there, her keys and her purse missing. So they automatically called in the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to help with this case. After Tara's disappearance, volunteers scoured the area looking for her. A command center was set up. This included a website and telephone tip line dedicated to tips on Tara's whereabouts. A reward was offered for her safe return or information leading to an arrest and conviction. 3 separate witnesses came forth saying that they witnessed a black truck in Tara's yard multiple times between Sunday evening and Monday morning. A 4th witness came forward and said that they even encountered a man sitting in the truck at one of these times. police did collect the latex glove they found in the yard as evidence, and they were able to get some DNA off of that glove. However, when it was run through the lab, there were no hits, there were no matches for it, but they were able to confirm that it was male DNA. So with that being really the only clue they had so far in this case, they decided that they were going to set off and interview, speak to, and collect DNA from any acquaintances, friends, family members that were male. Despite doing all these interviews and DNA collections, they were unable to find any match to the DNA found on the glove. So now looking at the evidence that the police did have, that was basically just the DNA found on this latex glove and this business card, let's talk about who their initial suspects were. Now, anytime that someone goes missing or something happens to someone, some of the first suspects the police are going to want to question and look into are going to be people that were closest to the victim. So that was husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, exes. You get the picture. So Tara's ex-boyfriend was brought in immediately to be questioned. While him and Tara were together for 6 years and they just recently broke up, during that 6-year period, there was never any reports or rumors of violence or abuse in the relationship whatsoever. And he maintained his innocence, and his DNA did not match that found on the latex glove. Now let's talk about that business card that was found in Tara's front door. Now, when I was reading about this case and when I first heard about it, I automatically thought like of the old credit card trick where you try to open a door with the credit card and slide the lock over. But then I'm like, well, business card is kind of flimsy, but what do I know? But that actually has nothing to do with it, at least as far as we know. This business card actually belonged to a police officer. So you might be wondering, why is there a police officer's random business card in Tara's door? Well, it is said that this specific police officer, while he happened to be married, he did visit Tara a lot. And on Sunday night, he was calling and trying to get a hold of her, and she was not answering his phone calls. So he decided to stop and knock on her door. And when he got there and saw her car, he assumed she was home. But upon knocking and knocking, no one came to the door. Tara never answered the door. So he just put his business card there to let her know, hey, I've been here. This police officer was in fact from a different jurisdiction, and it is speculated that this man is Heath Dykes, and that him and Tara did engage in a relationship on and off. So when he was questioned, because obviously that whole situation looks a little suspicious for a couple of reasons, and he was questioned, and he also maintained his innocence and said, listen, I tried to see her, I wanted to see her, I'd been seeing her, but I did not hurt her. I did not harm her. I never was able to see her Sunday night. And he did leave 24 voice messages on her phone over the weekend. However, his DNA also did not match the DNA on the latex glove. So the third and last, rather obvious, if you will, suspect in this case was a former student of Tara's who was actually arrested for harassing her in the past. And this student was questioned by police officers, and again, he said he was innocent, he had nothing to do with it, and again, his DNA did not match that found on this latex glove. Her family members even went as far as going on national crime shows begging for information. However, no new evidence was brought to light, and investigators would be at a standstill for the next 10 years. Due to lack of evidence and all the potential suspects basically being questioned and ruled out, this case kind of had nowhere to go and was pretty quiet until February of 2009, when a random person decided to post some internet videos. Now, this person had digitally disguised their appearance and their voice, but they went online and made these videos saying that they were a serial killer, and they dubbed themselves the Catch Me Killer. And they described all of these horrendous crimes that they had committed against women in great detail. And after reviewing these videos and keeping Tara's disappearance in mind, the police decided that this might be their guy, that this disguised man might be who they're looking for, because one of the scenarios he described seemed very plausible with Tara's scenario, or at least what they knew of her scenario. Even though this mysterious man went to great lengths to disguise his appearance and his voice, police were able to track him down and identify him as 27-year-old Andrew Haley. And even though in the videos a disguised Haley confessed to murdering 16 women, and even though, like I mentioned, he did give very specific details on these crimes, police questioned him and investigated him and realized this was all an elaborate hoax on Haley's part, and he never committed any of these crimes or any of these murders, and he too was eliminated as a suspect in Tara's case. Reading about this case sort of frustrated me because I feel like there are so many people that would be obvious suspects, but they were all ruled out and they all maintained their innocence. And then once again, this case sat there and nothing really happened until 2017. So on February 23rd, 2017, it was announced that the police had been given a tip that was about to crack this case wide open. And the way this tip came in is pretty interesting. A woman by the name of Brooke Sheridan came forward and told police they had a big tip in Tara's case. And when police sat down and talked to her, they couldn't believe what she had to tell them. Now, Brooke was dating a man named Bo Dukes, and Bo Dukes had confided in her that years ago in his past, he had a friend named Ryan Duke, which is of no relation to Bo Dukes. And this friend, Ryan Duke, had called Bo and said, "I need your help." And the help that Ryan was requesting was actually help in the disposal of Tara's remains. And Bo Dukes unfortunately agreed to help him do this, and the two men took Tara's body sometime within the 5 days after her actual murder up to Bo Dukes' uncle's pecan farm and burned her remains. Now, from everything I read, the uncle is innocent and had no idea any of this was going on. Now, Brooke said that this was nothing like the man she knew and loved, and she was stunned to hear him confess to this. But she said while she still loved him, she knew that she had to turn this tip in because Tara's family deserved peace. After she turned the tip in, she then went to Bo Dukes herself and convinced him to turn himself in to the authorities, which he eventually did. After hearing this big tip, police obviously went right to Ryan Duke, who was now a 32-year-old man, and they found out that Ryan Duke was, at the time of Tara's disappearance, a student in the high school. Upon locating Ryan, they obviously brought him in for questioning, which resulted in his arrest, and finally the events of that night were made known. It is said that Ryan Duke went to Tara's residence to rob her, and when he was inside her house, she confronted him, she caught him, and he panicked and he strangled her. And he then removed her body from the residence. He then contacted Bo Dukes and asked for help in disposing her remains. Then it is said sometime within the next 5 days, the two men took Tara's body to the pecan farm, which was in Ben Hill County, and burned her remains. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation searched the pecan farm for Tara's remains, but they have not shared any evidence that they may have found. Ryan Duke was charged with 5 or 6 different counts, and I'm going to look down to read them because I don't want to mess them up. These counts include burglary, aggravated assault, malice murder, felony murder, and concealing a death, amongst others. Finally, on March 3rd, 2017, Bo Dukes was formally arrested in connection with the disappearance and murder of Tara Grinstead, and his charges include attempting to conceal a death, tampering with evidence, and concealing and destroying remains. While Tara's disappearance may have happened years ago, the punishment these men are facing is very present. Neither man has seen their criminal trial yet. Ryan Duke's defense attorney recently filed 23 motions to the Superior Court. These motions include, but are not limited to, the following requests. Duke wishes to wear no type of jail clothing or uniforms. No shackles or chains are to be on Duke in the public or at trial. They are also requesting that the court refrains from using the word murder throughout the trial. One of the motions also pertains to the statute of limitations, and unfortunately, some of the things Duke is charged for do have statute of limitations, and they have, in fact, ran out. However, murder does not. Duke recently had a court hearing in September 2018. Ryan Duke's defense attorney pleaded not guilty. For him, it surprised everyone. But no court date was set, and there's speculation that his trial won't be until sometime in 2019. As for Bo Dukes, he is still awaiting trial, but he has filed motions as well that the statute of limitations has run out long ago, so he should be acquitted of his crimes. It is very unfortunate that Tara lost her life at the young age of 30. She would only be, I think, 43 right now if she were still alive, and that is still so young. This case, not unlike other cases, has a lot of speculation and rumors swirling around it. Many people believe that Tara was never killed at her home. So many don't understand that if Tara was indeed murdered in her home and a truck was used to transport her body, how and why would her car seat be adjusted too far back, and why would it have this dirt and mud on it? Another bit of speculation that pertains to this rumor is the fact that even though her and her boyfriend of 6 years had broken up about a year ago, she was still having a lot of trouble getting over him emotionally and still had feelings for him. However, Tara had learned that he was dating an 18-year-old girl, and some say that this upset her. And some say that maybe this upset her so much that she was willing to go hang out with Bo and Ryan at the pecan orchard, and something happened to her at the orchard that night. It's been said that she overdosed and the men tried to dispose of her body. It's been said that maybe she was drugged by them and something went wrong and they tried to dispose of her body. And as for Tara herself, most of us will probably never know what really happened that night, what is fact and what is fiction. The only thing that is evident is that Tara is no longer with her family, her friends, her students, and her loved ones. I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen and learn about Tara's disappearance and murder. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.